Hailing from the Jersey Shore and raised as athletes, the Airey Bros have always shared a passion for physical culture, athletic performance, and human optimization, always striving to be the strongest versions of themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Along the way, they've met some pretty amazing humans and have had some pretty epic adventures. The intention of Airey Bros Radio is to showcase these amazing people and the impact that they've had on them, and to share tips, tricks, and hacks so that you can win each day, every day.
You're listening to Airey Bros Radio. Be there or be square, because it's all killer, no filler.
Right? The discomfort is the gift. That is what you're looking for. That's what you're seeking. Like, do you understand that he used to go to these places, find the nearest Best Buy, buy a $200 handy cam, use it for the weekend, take the footage, and then return the handy cam? Like, do you understand that, like, that's not a way to run a business? He's a nice guy. No, dumbest thing ever, dude. I look back on it, and it's almost like I try to block that out of my memory.
Pork roll, chow ham.
Pork roll, stop. Like, what are you, a corporate shill? There's plenty of room to build heels in our sport, and we suck at it. What are you talking about? Like,
we're from Edison.
Yeah, like, this is what I do. I travel around the friggin' world and shoot wrestling. Now I can outwork everyone. Like, you can't outwork me. Like, you can't. This is Mike Mal, and you're listening to Airey Brothers Radio. It's tough because now I'm getting back in coaching, right? It's like, I forget. Like, it's really difficult for me because, like, these kids, and by the way, I chose not to train the high school athletes in this area anymore. I just can't deal with them.
Them or the parents?
I don't touch the parents. They don't. I don't speak to them. Like, I'll ignore them. Like, they'll come up to me and ask me a question. I just point at the other guy that runs the place. But we knew that. That was kind of the rule going in. The only way he kind of coaxed me into coaching again was, I'm like, I'm not answering an email. I'm not talking to a mom. I'm certainly not talking to a dad. You're doing everything. I put my shoes on, I yell at the kids, and I go home, and that's it. But yeah, I can't deal with high school kids here. So, but dealing with the middle school kids brings its own challenge because they don't know anything, like nothing. And like, I don't like stance, motion, nothing. They don't like, so they're coming to me as a clean slate. Now that's good and it's bad because they don't have any room to make poor habits, but it's really, really challenging in that, like, I have to teach them how to be athletes, right? Like, a lot of these kids are coming to me because they can't play football. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, they tried out for the football team, didn't make it. And so they're coming to me as a second, third resort. And so, like, some of these kids, like I'm having to teach them, like, okay, from like short offense, like even my son, I forget, like my son, he doesn't want to do any other sports. So like, I'm trying to explain to him, okay, like if you pull somebody down into a front headlock, you can go to the right or you can go to the left, or you can just jump right over. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know if you know this, but you're a pretty good athlete. I mean, I can't do it anymore because I'm 47 years old, whatever the fuck. But you can just jump over people. He's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And he just jumps over people now. Like, he dropped. Remember how Julian Meany used to kind of just cartwheel over people? Yeah, he just, oh, okay, I can just do that. He's like, that seems a whole lot easier. Why don't you just teach me at first? I'm like, never mind. Just go.
How's Texas been the last year, especially Austin? Have you seen the Rogan bump? Like, have you seen the people moving in because of Rogan in the past year?
Yes.
It's noticeable.
Yes. It's yes. So like Austin loves corny ass t-shirts, and they love, like keep it weird, and they love having their little slogans and stuff like that. And that's fine. It's cute. Right. But now, and I can't even say it because I'm from Jersey. Right. But there's like t-shirts everywhere you go that say, don't LA my Austin. They mean that shit, man. They mean it. Like they mean it. So, but yeah, Austin had okay. How about this? A guy just got a job with us. We hired him. He lived in He lived in Ohio somewhere, and he sold his house in Ohio, trying to find a place in Austin, and he couldn't find a place in Austin unless he went $20,000 to $30,000 over the asking price. So whatever it's like, that's like going to a car dealership and being like, what is it? What does the sticker price on that say? Oh, it says $15,000. That's cool. I'll give you 17. Why would you ever do that? Like but it's so competitive right now. There's no way you're getting a house until you go over asking price, which is, I've never seen anything like it. It's bananas around here right now. Like the traffic everywhere. I mean, they call it traffic. It's not like we're thinking of like the Garden State Parkway Memorial Day weekend. It's not like that, but like there's people on the road like all the time. So yeah, we've seen the Rogan bump for sure.
And people are scooping those houses sight unseen.
Yep. They had this guy Kozak that I'm telling you, he's never seen the house. He's just like, well, I just dropped, more than $250,000 on a house that I don't even know if the plumbing works. I don't know. Like, okay, cool, man. I guess, right?
Man,
it's a cool place to live though. Like this place was a secret for a long time, dude. It was a secret for a real long time. It's a really cool place to live. Look, COVID missed us completely. So it's cool, right?
how was Snowpocalypse?
Oh, it was fine. I mean, it got chilly for a bit.
So Wednesday, Mike.
No, I mean, like,
get your sauna suits.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. I guess, they're just not equipped.
Yeah.
At all. So my wife's like, how hard could it be to put together some salt and some trucks? And I'm like, dude, think about any city planner, right? Any city official that proposes the expenditure of millions upon millions of dollars on salt, sand, trucks, plows, all that stuff for something that happens once every 30 years. That seems like, it just seems foolish. So the problem, started with the snow, but it really stayed because it stayed cold for a long time. Usually, we get snow here every once in a while, but it melts within hours. So, but it was chilly for a bit, and it sucked because, there's no power for a couple of days, but that's whatever, dude. I'm a freaking caveman. I was close to like starting a bonfire in the house. Oh, we'll figure it out,
Go get those chairs.
Yeah. What do we need? Furniture? Come on.
So, Olympics are around the corner.
I heard.
What should we be looking for?
I think we're better than Russia. You heard it here first. I think we're better. I think if they kept team scoring, I think we'd win. When we have 10 weights, they're a little deeper than us, right? So they might be a little bit better. But 6 weight classes, even if we only qualified 5 of the 6, I like our squad, man. I really, really do. 74, 86, and 125, we are clearly better. 97, Sadulayev and Snyder. They've gone back and forth. They're 1-1 on each other. So it's like, I think I really like our team. It's a shame that we don't have any representation at 65K. But yeah, I love our 5 guys that we're going there with. Hopefully Greco can, overachieve a little bit, and the women are out of this world. These girls are good. These girls are real. Not only are they good, but the next crop of women that are coming up are out of this world. This girl, Kennedy Blades, is special. This woman, Kylie Welker. These girls are still in high school. They made the Olympic team trials finals, right? And they only lost to world champions. So the future of USA Wrestling looks really, really good. And they're in a good spot right now. I think going to Pan Ams and just bludgeoning everyone, while it didn't look like it was a very effective road trip for our guys, I was there, and I can tell you, Coach Zadok is like, all right, these guys are ready, and they are. They went out there and they piss pounded everyone at Pan Am's. Now, granted, Cuba wasn't there, but they looked amazing, and they I don't think they gave up more than 10 points. The whole team, the entire time. So it was pretty cool to see.
So obviously the results at the Olympics are going to debate how good United States wrestling is compared to the previous years. But do you think the sport of wrestling is as big as it's ever been in this country? You got Gable on Rogan, you got Burroughs on Rogan, you got platforms like Flow, Rockfin.
Yeah, it's for sure bigger than it's ever been. And a lot of it, like you said, is guys like Rogan kind of tipping his cap to wrestling as a really difficult sport. And then like the work that we've been doing over the last 10 years at Flow, and even track wrestling, right? Like track wrestling, they had a big part in kind of pumping the sport up a little bit too. So yeah, I think that there's a few things that are going in the right direction. We still have work to do in some pretty major areas. Like Greco, nobody really understands the rule set. We kind of get detracted from our sport with things like beach wrestling and stuff like that. I'm not saying that beach wrestling is bad. I'm saying that like people are like, oh, is that wrestling? Is it in the Olympics? Is it part of it? What are we doing? So like we talked about earlier with the clubs, the sport is too friggin' small to kind of undercut one another. And in any way, you can't undercut people, and you can't take, from one style or one discipline and not give to the other. But you can't take money away from one thing and only put it in another. So it's like we're too small as a sport to even consider undercut. And that's why the whole Twitterverse, that the wrestling Twitter, to me, is, I don't understand it. Like I'm so removed from it, that because they're cannibalistic. They just want to negative, and they bite and they chew at each other. We're too small. We can't do that. We're like, if you rip down, like, I know that they call for our heads all the time. Like they want to see Pyle's head on a steak. But what they don't understand is this sport isn't where it is today if it's not for Pyles and Willie and Martin. I get it. But it seems like everyone's just kind of, they pick at Flow because we're the biggest entity in the sport, but we're not that big. It's 8 dudes just that love wrestling, trying to make cool content. That's it. Like, you're like, oh, big bad Flow. Well, dude, we got 8 people that work on wrestling. That's it. 8 people that like love wrestling. So every time you tweet at Flow, like, oh, fuck you guys, and this, you're really tweeting at me and Bader and Kozak, and like Bader's right next to his 4-year-old daughter going, okay, fuck me, I guess. I don't know. All I'm trying to do is make cool fucking movies about wrestling, and I got some 20-something-year-old college graduate that's telling me to go fuck myself. All right, cool, I guess. All I wanted to do is fucking hang out with my buddies and make cool wrestling content. Well, I got to do it.
I think it's one of those things, anytime money gets involved, everyone was cool with Flow back in the day when it was free and Martin was going to Edinburgh and all those little PA schools and everything, putting that stuff up for free. And I remember me and Tony talk like, how are these guys making money or whatever? And then, start charging. It's like, oh, you fucking sellout, you're fucking charging me. Like, yo, how do you want us to eat?
Do you want us to go back to what it was? I mean, even talk about the coverages that Martin did at Edinburgh. Do you understand that he used to go to these places, find the nearest Best Buy, buy a $200 handy cam, use it for the weekend, take the footage, and then return the handy cam? Like, do you understand that, like, that's not a way to run a business? You can't, like, he knew that at the time, but that's all he could do. He was living in a van down by the river. No, I mean, he was basically, bootstrapping it until he could make enough money. Like, you don't want to go back to what it was. Trust me. You want to go back to like one shitty camera for 3 mats, because that's what the US Open was. I remember watching, it was like a GoPro, like a Hero 2 that was positioned so it could kind of, technically see all 3 mats. But you're like, hey, is that Donnie Pritzoff over on mat 3? I don't know. Maybe not. Could be. So it's like these people are, they're so cannibalistic that they don't realize that not long ago, 10 years ago, the coverage of this sport was next to non-existent. It was next to non-existent. It like, there was no video footage of the world championships. It just wasn't, so yeah, it really cracks me up to see. It's interesting because I'm like, wow, you guys don't know anything, that's cool. I mean, I guess,
But unfortunately, there are individuals out there that would prefer to just go back to the way it was and have that.
I don't think so. I think that they think they want that.
And with the Division I programs that are slowly starting to add women's wrestling, how is that landscape going to look? Are they going to continue to keep on the women's side freestyle and then men folk style, or how is that going to work with the?
Man, I wish I knew. I think we should probably just rip the Band-Aid off and just switch everything to freestyle. But
Bro, you've been saying that since 07.
But the rules are so much better now. And now, but in 07, it was just
I agree with you though. I 100% agree with you at this point.
Right. But also in 07, it was just wishful thinking, just because I enjoyed freestyle. But 07 was like the dark ages of freestyle wrestling. That 3-period ball draw was just a nightmare. It was just a nightmare.
Leg clinch.
Oh my god, the leg.
Yo, was that the dumbest thing ever?
Dumbest thing ever, dude. I look back on it and it's almost like I try to block that out of my memory. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm like, whatever. So, but at that point, folk style wrestling was so much more exciting, like at the NCAA level, because of the scrambling and stuff like that. That kind of dipped because people figured out how to stop leg passes, and guys like Ben Askren get credit from most of the wrestling community for innovating funk wrestling. But in my eyes, you know what he really did? He taught us, hey, if you have a shitty single leg, you're going to get funk rolled pretty easily. So what he really did, the ripple effect of it was that he actually made
people block the hip.
Yeah, like you actually had to finish right. Like you actually had to finish the correct way, because if your technique was crappy, he was just, not just him, but anyone else of any of his kind of disciples would just roll through and whatever. So like but at that point, folk style wrestling was so much more exciting because of that stuff. And then, but freestyle was down in the dumps. So in 07, when I was saying, we should just go back to freestyle, it was very much wishful thinking. Now what's going on is people are starting to recognize that freestyle at the highest level is really, really engaging. The rule set now is very easy to understand for the most part. I can sit and explain it to someone who's never watched wrestling before in their lives. And the folk style rules right now are like, they're like non-committal freestyle rules, right? Like they don't want to commit to a step out. So they'll say like, okay, if you step out of bounds, it's stalling and then it's a point. When they don't really enforce that rule and there's this like stupid gray area that's involved with it. So it's like, when I said it back in 2007, I meant it, but it was more wishful thinking. Now I think it's really on the minds of people. I think it really is like, oh, that's a better product. It's like stepping out, when guys go out of bounds and they fix their shoelaces and they pull their socks up and they take the long way back to the center, it detracts from the action of the match. It's just people don't want to see that as much. And it's too much of that in folk style.
It's part of the gimmick. Got to play the heel. Got to do the Ric Flair. Got to take your time to get back to the center. Get heat.
I'd rather them headbutt you or a Flair chop you. I really would. I like the heel. There's plenty of room to build heels in our sport, and we suck at it.
Well, that's because someone tries to be Conor, and at this point, that stuff is so played out. There's way more intellectual ways to get under people's skin than to just talk shit on your opponent, right? You can talk shit on your opponent, but like we were just saying, oh, I'm gonna beat this dude because he doesn't block the hip, he takes slop, like stuff like that, opposed to the Dake Burrows thing that went down on Flo. That was like douche chill worthy. That was like, ooh.
Yeah, he didn't look nice. Yeah,
I give him for effort for trying, because
sure.
They're trying, but they're no Chael. And that's another thing. I think these guys need to study guys like Chael, guys who can kind of get away with it. Like Chael Sonnen could lose, but still get over, and you still want to see him fight again. It's hard to do that. That's an art, and it takes more skill to do that than just be a Conor McGregor and call your shot.
Gable studies it. Gable Stevenson studies it.
Is he going to WWE?
No question. We're going to lose him very soon. If he wins it this year, he's out. But yeah, I can't imagine he sticks around.
Well, I think that's, and not to cut you off, Rich, I think that's another avenue that as wrestlers we never went down. We never went down that professional.
Yeah, there was some type of weird shame towards it. Like, what are you talking about? That's fun, dude. I don't know. I think you might see more guys doing it soon. I hope, right? Not that it doesn't have its own problems, right? But like, at least you're not getting punched in the face on purpose. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, dude, we spend time around the club. You know how many guys in that are characters, right? So many guys are characters, have these personalities, but the sport of amateur wrestling kind of doesn't let that go out. Where in professional wrestling, you're turning that to a 10, and these guys are already in that top 10%. Me and Richie went to a indie show here, and it was so unathletic. It was so bad. You
really?
Put these wrestlers in there that kind of know what they're doing. They're already steps ahead of the game, and people don't understand that. And wrestling nowadays is getting more athletic, and guys like amateur wrestlers are getting over a little bit more. I think, you have the jiu-jitsu avenue, you have the MMA avenue, and you have the pro wrestling avenue.
Well, we'll see what this. Did you guys see that today is the first day that college wrestlers? Yeah, NIL, man. Yeah. Dude, it's gonna do something to this sport. And I don't expect it to be like this humongous tidal wave right away. But like RBY had thousands of dollars in an account within minutes because he's raffling off shoes. Within hours of them saying, all right, man, you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. Here you go. Within hours, he had thousands of dollars in the bank. Now, in the grand scheme of things, is a couple $1,000s that much money? No, of course not. But I think the big thing will be these guys will take to social media and start understanding that there is a marketability involved. And because of that, RBY is not the greatest wrestler in this country right now, but he's by far the most marketable. And it's not close. It's not close at all. Like we wanted to do a film on him, and he said yes until this morning.
I got my own crew.
Look, that price tag just went up this morning. And it went up exponentially. So, but the kid's, he's awesome. Like he gets it. He gets it. Like I'm not hating on him. He should. He's getting good advice from people around him. Like, yeah, wait, now give it a week. You know, this it looks like this NIL stuff is for real, and you're going to be able to make some cash off this thing here. So, yeah, I think that this NIL stuff isn't going to make the biggest impact right away. But what you will see is guys like Gable and guys like Roman Bravo Young being able to make a living, or make a good amount of money because of the image that they've kind of cultivated on social media.
Yeah, and I said to Jimmy the other night, I mean, could you imagine coming out of college and having an extra, even if it's 10 grand in your bank account when you graduate? Like, what kind of a game changer that would be in terms of like making life decisions and choices and what the next move is. And I think that guys like Roman and Gable and some of the other guys that are pretty marketable are going to be able to, AJ Farrar is another guy to throw in there that can make a decent amount of money and have a nice nut coming out of, I'm not saying they're going to be millionaires coming out of college, but they're going to have some, if they do things the right way, they're going to have some money that's going to set them up to make different life choices because of that.
Sure. Maybe they don't have to do, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go coach somewhere. Maybe they'll have enough scratch put together, go start their own business. I don't know, whatever they want to do. But yeah, it's a game changer for sure. Now, again, these people that are saying this is going to just topple all types of, all right, well, let's hold your horses there for a little bit. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing for us, man. I really do. Especially for the guys that get it. Roman Bravo Young gets it. Gable Stevenson gets it. Right? Like I've done interviews with Gable where he's like, stop. Let me do that one again. I can do it better. It never happened before. It's never happened before. Right? He's like, no, stop. I can say that again. I can say it better. He gets it. He gets it. It's not live. Do it again. Gives a shit. No one's going to see the first cut, So yeah, man, these kids, hopefully they get it.
Is he, would you consider him the favorite for Tokyo?
No. Geno Petrashvili, who, by the way, is a badass. He won the last couple world titles. And then there's Taha Akul. So Taha is from Turkey. Geno is from Georgia. Geno is spelt like Gino, but it's Geno. Yeah, those are the two front runners. I think he's right there with him, though. I really, really do. I think I would not be surprised if he was our third gold medal this year. I really would not be surprised. I'm just kind of assuming David and Dake both win a gold medal. I know that that's a big assumption, but I really feel confident about it. But I think Gable could very easily be the third. Have you heard of that guy, Geno Petrashvili?
Yeah.
Dude, we want to do a movie on him so bad. He was taken hostage and held hostage in a basement for 6 months by bad people. Just wanted money after he won I think it was a cadet world title. Yeah, he's got a really, really interesting story, and hopefully he'll let us tell it. But there's a lot of hoops that we got to jump through first.
So do you think without the gold medal that Gable makes the jump, or do you think he'll maybe stick around make cash in a little bit at the NCAA level with the NIL stuff?
Yeah, if I had to guess, if he doesn't win a gold medal, he's not as marketable to the WWE. And why not? If all things are equal, why not stay in school, get a free education, and now you can make a couple bucks on your own image and likeness. Why not build that? So yeah, I think that's probably the way it would go if I had to guess. Now, I think the day after he wins the gold medal, it's deuces, brother. He's out.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him. I can't blame him
No,
because
not at all.
I've heard some stories about 6-figure contracts that have been on his table and he's already said no to. I've heard, and again, this is like hearsay, but I've heard Cena himself has offered him his own money to quit wrestling and jump, go to Florida and start training in WWE lab ASAP. But who knows if that's true, right? But yeah, I'd be very surprised that if he won, if he wasn't out the next day.
No, that's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you.
Sure.
It seems like we are very, very, very deep at 65. But
I mean,
maybe it's just because
parity. There's parity. Look, man, there's a drought right now that has gone on since 07.
Zadok, right?
Yeah, Bill Zadok was the last one to win a world a medal at that weight class, and it wasn't even that weight class. It was 66 at the time. So, we all thought that Yanni was the next one, right? We're really, and me included, right? Like I'm as big of a Yanni fan as there is, but he can't get it done domestically. Now, J.O., Zane Rutherford, these guys, they couldn't get it done on foreign soil. So it's like something has to kind of give. Yanni's probably better overseas than he is in this country. And then the other guys that, Zane and J.O. just seem to know how to win the spot. So what's the answer? The answer is probably Jesse Mendez. This kid coming out of high school. Oh my God, I love this kid. I love him. He'll wrestle anybody, any weight. He'll go up 2 weight classes and he'll go punch somebody in the face. He'll go up age group, right? He made the junior team. He's on the junior world team. He's like, you know what? I didn't make the senior team. I wasn't, I wasn't eligible for the trials. So you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go try and make the U23 team. And he made the finals and won a match and then had the injury default because his face split open or his knee or something like that. He busted his knee up, but his face was split open too. So yeah, this kid might be the answer. And I really hope he is because he's an awesome kid. He loves this sport. And like, that's like, I don't know, 80% of it, and he's good at it and he's tough and he's technical. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about him. He's coming. He's coming. This kid is for sure coming.
So you always used to say to me that you can make this sport whatever you want, and you have clearly done that. And, talking about learning how to do the video editing and doing all that. Did you ever kind of see that, the club wouldn't be your main thing and you'd be able to do something like be a wrestling personality or something like that? And how much has it kind of just helped you develop as a person, interviewing these people, getting to talk to these good coaches, taking their, what they do and put in your toolkit, just kind of go into detail about what it's been like kind of creating your own niche and outside of coaching?
If you would have told me 10 years ago that this is what I'd be doing, I'd tell you you're crazy. I would say you're absolutely crazy. So to answer your question, I don't think, no, it never occurred to me that this was ever going to happen, ever. So I thought I'd be coaching at a club level for a long time. And I was okay. I was very okay with that. I loved it. Like I was all right at it. I was making okay money. But looking back on it, you couldn't pay me enough to do it again. It was so much harder than what I'm doing now. It was so much harder for so many different reasons. I don't.
You think now you just get to focus on wrestling opposed to running a business?
Yeah, a little bit of that, but it was just like, it was a grind, man. It was, and I didn't realize it at the time. And because it was such a grind doing that, like having like let's be honest, right? If we're going to be completely honest, having like the 4th most successful wrestling club in the state of New Jersey, 5th, maybe, I don't know, whatever. I wasn't first, right? But because of that, I would wake up in the morning and like, there would be time devoted to marketing. There'd be time devoted to doing the bills. Now, I didn't call it that shit, business manager. I didn't call it that shit at the time. It was just like taking care of everything that I needed to take care of. But like now I can outwork everyone. Like you can't outwork me. Like you can't, because like these guys, dude, there was a shooter that I can remember, like he would just be like sitting there during practice because the camera was heavy. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you fucking, like, we're paying you $1,000 a day and like you can't pick a camera up for 2 hours? So it's like little shit like that. So it kind of it helped for sure. I got an email yesterday, because there's a good chance that I'm going right from Budapest to Crown Point, Indiana, to shoot with that kid, Jesse Mendez. And like the girl that approves all the travel, she's like, well, this seems like a recipe for burnout. And I think you're going to get burnt out if you, like, what are you talking about? Like
from Edison.
Yeah. Like, this is what I do. I travel around the friggin' world and shoot wrestling. What are you talking about, lady? You're crazy. So little shit like that really prepped me for success at the next stage. But the real benefit has been to my parenting. Like I have become, because of like all these people I get to speak to, and you said, oh yeah, you get to get different coaching. Yeah, bullshit. I get to like pick the brains of way better parents, because I wasn't built for parenting, dude. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Not that anyone is like has a manual, right? But like I'm telling you, dude, like I kind of try and steal all these coaching techniques and apply it to parenting now, and it's been really, really cool. It's been really cool. Like our new thing now is like, Jack for a little while, like the conditions had to be perfect for him to train, right? Like if he forgot his shoes, he's like, oh, well, I guess I can't practice today. I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, A, look in the bin over there. There's stinky old ones that you will find and wear. B, just go barefoot, stupid. Like, what are you talking about? So like all these little things, like I'm trying to explain to him that like the discomfort, right? The discomfort is the gift. That is what you're looking for. That's what you're seeking. The medals and the accolade, all that kind of, yeah, that's adorable. But the discomfort is its own gift. So like anytime you can make yourself just a little bit uncomfortable while you're doing something that you love, you should definitely do it, because then it's just going to make everything that you do that much more enjoyable. So we'll go into the sauna together and he'll rep out, like he can only stay in there for like 10 minutes at like 185. But the last 2 minutes is him cranking out dips and squats and stuff like that. And then he goes into the water and like, he'll come up out of the water and I'll be like, okay, don't wipe your face off when you come out of the water. You ever try to do that? This shit ain't easy, right? Like it takes effort to like come out of the water and not wipe your face off. Right, exactly. So, and you just did that without even knowing it, right? Because you just feel it on your face. Goofy shit like that we'll do. Be like, okay, look, the discomfort is the gift, and maybe that's a little bit deranged of me, but I don't know, man. I like it's been cool taking a lot of these lessons that coaches impart, like the best coaches in the world impart on their athletes, and kind of applying it at home to my kids.
Love it. It's a beautiful thing. Is he going? How old is he now? Is he going into high school?
No, he's gonna redshirt. He's gonna do 7th grade again. To answer your question, and he loves it, man. He cannot get enough of it. He travels with me to camps. He trains at least twice a day, 3 times a week. Strength trains. He loves it. He's into it. He's really, really into it. And I don't have to, how about this? Monday, we just got back from vacation, which when I say vacation, he worked a camp with me in Hilton Head Island. But the rest of the family was on vacation. And we had to, like, Monday, we had to go sign for this house. It was like, you can't go to practice right now. Well, we got done early. And he's like, hey, I still got time to make it to the 7:30 class. I'm like, your mommy can take you, bro. I'm tired. And I just had a glass of wine. There's no chance. So my wife got in the car. She took him to practice and he trained till 9 and came back. So he's like way into it, dude.
So here's my question for you. Now that because we've had conversations about him over the years and his development and stuff, and now it truly seems like he's bought in and 100%. And do you ever feel or think that you have to pull the reins a little bit to hold him back?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Do you?
What's that?
Do you pull the reins in him or you let him go?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If he gets he gets very emotional. Like he gets really emotional when he wrestles, which is fine. But like you can't put that much stock. Like, so, and what it is, and like, I'm starting to figure it out as a dad, not as a coach, is that he knows like he's not as good as he should be yet in his eyes. So he puts all this work in and then he still loses to people that he doesn't feel like he should lose to anymore. And so, but what he doesn't see and what I do is that you used to get teched by this guy. Now it's a matter of a late takedown. And I know you still think it's a loss, but as a coach, I go, oh my God, he's made such incredible progress. This guy used to push his shit in. Like now all of a sudden he's right there with him. Yeah, you're fine. So when I see him getting overly emotional, I have to threaten him with, you're not allowed to wrestle this week. And like inevitably while I'm at work, he'll talk his mother into bringing him to the club or he'll go somewhere. But when I see, because it's like this this gasket that is like that builds up steam, and when he gets too frustrated, he'll just, this one girl used to beat him bad. Like this girl, she's tough. She's really good. Like I said, women's wrestling in Texas is good, right? So she was beating him again, but it's not as close. And he drove her into the wall and there's no wall padding. And so, and then like kept her there for a little bit. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Like, you can't do that. Like, he's like, but you do it. I'm like, I do it to grown men. Like, you can't do that to a 12-year-old, 13-year-old girl, 12 at the time. But you can't do that. He's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. She signed up for this, I guess, but I don't know why you can't do it. You just can't do it.
Ask your mother.
What?
Ask your mother.
Yeah, I don't know, right? So it's like, but I knew, like, hey, man, why don't we just take a week off? No, I'm not taking a week off. Oh, okay, all right, well, so yeah, I do have to pull the reins in every once in a while. But yeah, I wish he would kind of get a couple things under control with his training, but yeah, he's still a kid, man. He can go for forever. Well,
if you want to send him to Colorado, we'll take him in the mountains for a few days, straighten him out.
How about this? That might not be a bad idea. Because he has great lungs, but he has hot, soupy weather lungs, right? Something tells me at elevation in January, there might be some discomfort.
Yeah.
Learned from there for sure. But yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm going to see if I can't get out to the training center here soon. And if I do, I'll bring him and we'll stop off in Denver and
Yeah, let us know.
For sure.
We'll go do the cog.
I would love to do the cog just to say I did it. It's going to be ugly and I'll probably crawl the last quarter of it. But I'll make it, and I won't feel great afterwards, but I'll make it.
We'll bring the Suples bag. It'll be a good old time.
I don't know. I'd do better with that. Wait. We'd all be carrying the bag, right? We'd all be carrying the Bulgarian bag. Yeah. If that were the case, then I'd feel more comfortable. Because otherwise, you guys would just whip past me and hurt you or something. I don't know.
Why do I have the heaviest one? Mike's got the little 11.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll take the little
big chick bag with the yellow straps.
Yes, please.
Dude, I think it's so awesome that Jack is so into wrestling. I mean, every February comes around, I always know it's Jack's birthday. I'll never forget when he was born, just, due to when he was born, around nationals and all that. So the fact that he loves it as much as you do and he's pulling you to practice, I think that's awesome, right? That's the goal of wrestling, to make sure your child has a healthy relationship with a sport that is very easy to not have a healthy relationship with. So
yeah, it's easy, right? It's super easy to get into this and like fall into I don't know, fall
insanity.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and I can only speak from my experience, my whole thing with wrestling was my self-worth. That's how I identified. The only thing I ever did good up until that point was wrestling, right? So wins and losses, even though it was at a small level, no one was watching, it meant a lot to me. So I get it. And I think it's one of those things where kids need other avenues, other outlets. I think it's a little bit easier these days. And I think that, one or two sports is probably better than just staying in that whole wrestling zone your whole life. I think when you get to high school, maybe it's time to, go to one sport, but the more things you can do, whether it be acting, playing other sports, whatever it is, playing the guitar, I think that's just going to help. If you're just going to a club, that's all you got, and you're getting in the truck and your dad's yelling at you because people took you down, that's not a healthy way to be living. And I think that was what a lot of the sport was. But I think as guys like us get older and have kids, you're going to see student or wrestlers that have just more appreciation. You're going to get guys like Dake. You're going to get guys like Yanni. I mean, shit, we used to watch Vito on the side of the mat at MCC matches, and now look what he's doing. Like,
yeah, he's a special kid. But yeah, so one of the things that I try to say as much as I can in front of my kid, and it's true, I say it whether he's around or not, like at camps and stuff, because people ask me about, my son, what are my expectations for him? He has already gotten everything that I wanted him to get out of this sport. He's already got it. He's already learned how to outwork people. No one in the room will go with him. They won't go. That not because they can't beat him, but because they can't beat him for 2 hours. So nobody wants to go with him. And I don't blame them, because some of these kids are like, high school state placers, and he for sure in a 6-minute match would not beat them. He wouldn't beat him in 5, but he'd beat him in 50. Coming at you, and he's still pushing into the wall. So these kids don't so he's already learned, okay, I can outwork people. Well, now you've taken every real value that not every, but a lot of the core values that make wrestlers so valuable in the workplace, in family life, and all these different things. And you've already learned it and you're 13. Well, shit, the rest of this is just gravy, man. So, I try to say it as much as I can around him, so he knows, you don't ever have to win a wrestling match. Ever. Doesn't mean anything. You've already won. You got the W, you got the gold medal. You've already won. So I think if we as a culture can focus on just getting that and then building a love of the sport, because the love of the sport is the real thing to me. Because now, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a day where he doesn't wrestle anymore. Not everyone is like me and can do this shit for the rest of their life and make a living at it. But there's going to be a day where he doesn't wrestle anymore. And sorry, that's gross. But when that day comes, I want him to go to NCAAs with me and watch. So I want him to have enough of a love of the sport to call me up and say, holy shit, did you see what Jesse Mendez just did at the Olympics? That was cool, wasn't it? You know, so we can watch this shit together because his mom won't watch it with me. So, you know, screw it, man. Created one.
So and I love your perspective on coaching, raising your child through wrestling. 100% right. It's all about the work ethic. It's all about showing up. Love that. Not to get too far into weeds, but do you think you'll ever do the 24-hour lock-in again? Because that stuff was life-changing. I don't think I ever would have left New Jersey if I didn't do that 24-hour lock-in with you. It was like 3:00. Boys of Summer come on, and I'm like, wow, I still got a lot left in the tank. I need to go chase this stuff, and then I go and do it. So it had a huge impact on me, and I know everyone who was involved have stories like that. You think you'll ever do it again or no?
Not for a little bit of money. I've people have asked me, and I've purposefully put the number like so high that they're just going to say no. But if they said yes, I'll fucking do it. But a lot of people have come back with the same sentiment, and so much so that there's a guy named Eric Floyd who has kind of taken up the mantle, and he runs them now, and he just kind of pays me a couple bucks every time he does it, which is cool. I've worked a couple hours of one, but Jimmy, I'm telling you, bro, those things took fucking years off my life. They really did. Like, you know, the problem was that it wasn't scalable. You know, it wasn't like I couldn't, like the mindset guys, like the Zanetti brothers, they found a way to like have other coaches go around the country and do whatever it was that they do. Maybe it was my ego, but like when people said, I want you there, I was like, all right, cool. Right. But what I should have said was, no, Monty's good enough. Like, because Monty was doing them for me at first. Yeah. So it was like, all right, Monty's good enough. Monty's awesome. You can do it. But so the way I was doing it was just not scalable. But I can remember Melissa, I did 2 in 1 month. Like, cause I would like say to myself, all right, I'm just doing 1 a month after a while. Cause I was getting booked up. But the money is so good that like, yeah, it's hard to say no to. And I remember I'd come home after the second one and like I slept for a full day. You know, I couldn't hold the kids. Melissa's like, this isn't worth it. She's like, it's not worth the money. Like, she's like, you're useless. So I stopped doing them, and I probably won't do them again unless it's a lot of money. Because that shit was tough. That shit was not easy, man. But yeah, I think I really did. I hope I impacted a lot of people's lives. And they get back to me and they tell me about it. Actually, somebody got a hold of me through another person 2 days ago. Some woman brings her daughter to the club, and they're moved from Manhattan, and the kid wrestled in Manhattan, and the guy, her coach there, came to a lock-in one time and did a lock-in and said, this is great, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's I'm still reaping the benefits of it, but Jimmy, you're trying to kill, you give me agita just thinking about that shit right now, dude.
A lot of magic that goes on in that 24 hours, a lot of development that kids won't get otherwise they're able to get in that 24-hour period.
Yeah, it was special. I saw some cool stuff for sure. I saw some really, I don't know, like, so there's like things that stick out in my mind. Like every time I would do one, I would always immediately look around the room and find the alpha and go, oh, I'm breaking him. I'm breaking, you know, or her, because sometimes it was a her, right? I'll never forget. I did one in, I think it was Houston. And like immediately I picked out the alpha in the room, like, oh, I'm breaking this son of a bitch. And like everyone has like that one workout that they just suck at. And so I didn't realize it, but like I was trying to break him for like 18 hours. This kid was tough. And finally I found his Achilles heel, and it was anything having to do with being upside down. And so the workout was 30 handstand push-ups. All you had to do was 30 handstand push-ups. And he couldn't do it for the life of him. I'm talking, we're like 45 minutes into this workout and he's on like 8, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a kid cry upside down, but I'm here to tell you it's trippy, right? Because he cries into his eyebrows and into his hair. And it's like, I'm like, oh, dude, that's weird. You're crying, you're upside down. He's like, what? I'm like, nothing. Keep going, bud. So like you got to see like really interesting stuff like that. There was another one that one of the alpha in the room was for sure this female. She was a bad chick. And again, it was like 18 hours in and she hadn't broken at all. And the workout was man makers, but so it was clean it, press it, put it behind your head, squat it, press it, put it down in front of you. That's 1 rep. And you had to do 30 of those or something like that. And it was scaled by weight. So if you were over like 135, you had to use 145 pounds on the bar. And if you were under that, it was like, 125 or something like that. Well, she got the heavier weight. She was like right on the cusp and she was hurting bad. And so she was the last one, and the place was completely dark because it was separate from the wrestling room. So there was not very many lights on. So all you see is this teenage girl standing in front of a bar, just screaming, "Ah! Boom, boom." And she'd get the rep done and she'd put the friggin' weight down and she'd fucking kick it. Bang! Like all you heard was like, ping, ping, like all these sound effects. And now my thought process is I'm taping this. This is awesome. Right. So I got my camera out and I'm taping it. And then like 2 hours, she finished and she crushed it. Like 2 hours later, she comes up to me. She's like, hey, you got all that, huh? I'm like, oh yeah. I definitely got that. She's like, would you mind not posting that at all? I'm like, what are you talking about? That was amazing. She's like, yeah, I'd kind of like to get a date sometime, like ever. Like no dude's ever gonna date me if they ever see that. And I'm like,
I'd date her.
It's fair. I
Sight unseen.
Maybe sight unseen. You go 20% over market.
What was the workout? What was the weight again?
Dude, I'm telling you, but she was so sincere and so honest. And I was like, yeah, all right, I won't post it. But it was cool. It was a cool video. I wish I still had it.
Richie Rich, rapid fire.
Yeah, buddy, let's do it.
Do it.
You coffee drinker?
Of course. We have a $10,000 espresso machine at the office, and I love it more than I love my dog right now. I love it so much. I have a shitty little espresso machine at the house, but yeah, it's usually just espresso. So I limit myself to 2 double shots of espresso a day. That's it.
Well, here's a pro tip for you. You got to get yourself some distilled water, and then get yourself some third wave water packets.
Okay.
And then use that water to brew your espresso, and then that's gonna set it off.
Why is that?
So Third Wave Water is a company. It's dehydrated. It's a dehydrated water profile that was designed by an ex-NASA scientist. And so when you go to a coffee shop, there's a specific pH that like it's some World Barista Association or something that they use in the coffee shops. So this guy, he could never get his coffee to taste like it tasted in the coffee shop. Started talking to the roasters and everything, and they're like, "Oh, we use this special water. It's got this kind of pH." So what he did is he took the water from his favorite coffee house and figured out how to dehydrate it, so you get that pH profile, so that you put it in your distilled water, and then that's going to add that perfect water pH to the espresso. So,
all right, good to know.
Proud sponsor, Airey Bros Radio.
Nice.
So real quick, I know your answer, but pork roll, child ham.
Pork roll, stop. Like, what are you, a corporate shill?
We just got off. We just had Mike Gray on, so we got.
Oh, he doesn't say Taylor ham, does he?
Yeah, he's up there with Ayers,
What an animal. Yeah. No, it's pork roll, and it's yeah. Like, is it just Coke? No, it's whatever. Go ahead.
Is it states or state?
States.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
They say state here a lot.
Yeah.
And it just seems wrong, but whatever. I don't really care that much about that one.
And then is it stance and motion or stance in motion?
Stance and motion, because the motion implies level changing.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I could be wrong about that shit too. You should ask like the guy that makes up all the verbiage.
Coach Cole said stance and motion, so you're in good company.
Coach Cole did?
Yeah.
You had Coach Cole on?
Sure did.
Coming out in 2 weeks.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
son of a gun. He's got to get back to me. I'm going to California tomorrow, and I'm trying to get into the Stanford room. I don't know if he's actually in California yet, though.
He
Yeah,
said he
was
was
in.
heading out there, but I think he said he's going back and forth for the rest of the summer.
He is, yeah. So hopefully on the 6th he'll be there, because I'd love to get in there and talk to him a little bit. That's a crazy one. That's really awesome that he's taking that over.
Yeah. It's good for the sport for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for Shane Griffin too.
Also that, yeah. Apparently he doesn't need a coach or anything or even a program. He can just win a national title without it.
Right?
Kid's awesome.
What wrestling shoes are you wearing right now? And what is your favorite wrestling shoe of all time?
Combat speeds are all time. And right now I'm wrestling in the Rudis Sly Fox, the black ones. They're awesome. They're really good.
When you say combat speeds, you mean black and red, correct? You don't mean
I do
teal
like those the best. I don't have the black and red. I only have the teals right now.
Okay.
I only have, but I do prefer the black and red ones as far as the colorway goes. But I rip through mine pretty well. And Adidas hasn't sent me more. So I'm wearing the teals right now.
Who is your favorite wrestler to study tape of?
It changes weekly, monthly, probably monthly. But right now it's Otaguro, who is a Japanese 65K. But like, if you're talking who I never get sick of watching, is probably Buvasar Satia. I can watch the same match that I've probably, and I'm not exaggerating, watched hundreds of times and still find something to learn from him. He's special dude.
With guys like that, is it just the subtleties? Is it one of those things you see it because you've been in those positions, but to the naked eye, you're not really going to pick up on certain things because it's more pressure and position?
I don't think it has anything to do with me wrestling still. I thought it did. I thought it did for a long time. And that's why I kept on wrestling for a long time. But what you find is that all athletic motions are very, very similar. So the work that I do with wrestling and being able to break down the motions of technique and stuff like that can very easily be applied to softball, hockey, whatever. It's just, it's a generation of power and torque through a simple set of motions. So the reason that Buvasar is so incredibly fascinating as an athlete is because I don't think I've ever seen somebody that's ever been able to generate the same amount of torque going forward as he does going backwards, right? The dude pulling stuff into him and pulling up and pulling in different directions just was amazing. Like if you think about Jordan, like Jordan Burroughs, right? It's all boom. It's all forward. There's not much pull involved. It's all push. And then you look at guys like John, right? John was all pull, right? His elbow control high crotch, his duck under, even his double came from elbows and he would pull it. But he didn't have much push, right? He had that low single, but aside from that, there wasn't much push involved. Buvasar is the first person I've ever seen that is incredibly powerful, pushing, right? He could blow through you on a single leg. And then he could throw you from underhooks and stuff like that. So yeah, he's the one that still blows my mind every time I see him. But I watch a lot of wrestling.
Who's got the best foot sweep in the game right now?
Helen
Yep.
rules. Best timing on it.
Yeah.
Her timing on that is like it looks so effortless. Victoria Anthony's really good at it. None of our men are very good at it right now, but Helen's probably the best.
Yeah. Other than your espresso habit, do you have any other daily practices or rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of Mike Mal?
Absolutely. My morning consists of vegetable shakes, about 12 to 18 minutes of breathing and meditation, and then I study Russian for another 18 to 20 minutes. So I've been learning Russian for 6 months.
Like Rosetta Stone style?
Yep, Rosetta Stone, $200
you out.
lifetime. Yeah, $200, right? $200 for like lifetime subscription. It's like, duh, yeah. To find out what the frig they're saying in the corners, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
How's that coming?
It's fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Way difficult. Way difficult. I suck at it. I'm trying to get better. I'm going back to Russia next month. And it's like, I'm going to try and be more immersive than the last time I went and like really try and speak the language more, but it's really tough. It's just 20 minutes a day isn't enough. It's just not enough. But I will say this, the way that we learned languages in high school and college is so fucking antiquated. It's unbelievable to me. Like this Rosetta Stone stuff, and I know it's not the only one out there. This isn't like a Rosetta Stone commercial, but like the way, like it doesn't speak to you in English at all. It's just like figure it out, and you do. And so I can identify things, but speaking in sentences, it's just like, oh, it's brutal. It's tough. But yeah, the way we learned languages back in school is just like so ridiculous now. That you look at it.
What are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? You're reading anything?
I'm so happy you guys talk about this shit as opposed to just wrestling. I am listening to a band called the Headstones, and my favorite song that has been on repeat is something about Neverland. Hold on. Long Way to Neverland or something like that.
Are they a Texas band?
I don't know, man. I just kind of got into them because they came up on shuffle one day and I was like, whoa, what is that? Yeah, Long Way to Neverland is the name of that. No, I think they're actually from Canada, something like that. But yeah, they've kind of been my new obsession. And then Tyler Childers. Tyler Childers is my jam, dude.
You mess with Charlie Crockett at all?
No, I've not heard of him. So I am going to write that down.
I've sent them to you.
Did you?
Yeah. I think you'll like him. He's a little old school, but a new school to it. It's got some twang to it.
Twang, yeah.
I like it. Okay. Yeah. Podcasts. Of course, I'm listening to Ryan Sickler. Books. Anytime I get a chance, I'm trying to do Russian as opposed to, so I really haven't been listening to too many books. I really haven't been listening to too many podcasts either because I'm doing like an accompanying podcast for speaking Russian too. So I've been, especially now that I'm going back to Russia next month. So
last but certainly not least, Mike, this used to have a much more fun vibe to it prior to March of 2020. Now it's taken a little bit different turn, but at any point in time when you're not immersed in wrestling or trying to learn Russian or hanging out with your family, do you ever find yourself in a YouTube rabbit hole late at night, maybe looking at Bigfoot? Do you believe in aliens? Do you have any thoughts on JFK?
Do
you have a favorite conspiracy theory?
I don't think it's a conspiracy theory anymore. Like this, like, I mean, the government's kind of gone, well, there's some shit we don't know. So there's that. But the big one I've been into is my favorite documentary right now it's called BAM, Builders of Ancient Mysteries. And And it's just like it breaks down the science and the precision of some of the monolithic structures on the earth, and we can't duplicate it now. Like, we can't come close. So it's just like, oh yeah, there was like we are here for a very brief moment. And I don't think it's a conspiracy as much as like we're just figuring it out now. Like, oh, there was definitely high functioning societies on this planet way before us. And like the fact that they still are, like, Egyptologists are still sticking to the fact that, like, you know, the temples or the pyramids are like 3,000 years old is like bananas to me. That's like, shut up, just stop. It's crazy. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Builders of Ancient Mysteries is absolutely my favorite documentary.
Is that on Netflix?
It's on Amazon, and they just took it off like the Prime where you don't have to pay for it. So I went and bought it and stuff. But
I'll be checking
yeah,
that out.
it's like it's $4.99, dude. Best $5 you can spend. It's awesome, and I can watch it every single night and do.
Awesome.
So I know Richie Rich is going to take this ball and run with it, but you're going over to Russia. So you might want to start looking into Tataria and mud floods, because there's some buildings over there that are going to make you scratch your head. Richie,
Really?
take it from here.
Talk to me.
So it kind of goes in line with what we were just talking about these structures. There's architecture all over the world that, like, the precision accuracy and the design is stuff that we can't replicate or do now. So thought is that there have been these civilizations that have reset for whatever reason, whatever they may be. And there's actually CIA documentation that the Russians have tried to completely wipe Tataria off of the historical records. There's actually, I think it's a province or a state in Russia that's called Tartar or Tartarstan.
Tataria, yeah.
So yeah, there's this thought process that there was like this worldwide civilization that was, you know, kind of in like China, Russia area, that, you know, these architectures are all over the world. And we're now just kind of piecing together these different things. But yeah, there was this supposedly this civilization called Tataria that was whatever the reset was, they were reset. Some people believe it was like a cataclysmic event that like kind of liquefied the ground and like flooded certain areas, so buildings got covered up or half buildings got covered up. But yeah, there's actually CIA documentation out there that the Russians and the KGB tried to wipe this whole record from the books.
Doesn't surprise me. It just, I mean, doesn't surprise me at all. It's easier to explain to mass populations if you just go, didn't exist, sorry. What? Well,
We're the first ones.
yeah, like it's just easier. Like, all right, cool, I guess. But yeah, that stuff is absolutely fascinating to me. Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you go down the rabbit hole a little bit. That makes my heart all warm and fuzzy inside. Because some of the wrestling personalities aren't as
They get offended.
they don't like to get into this. Some of the college coaches, Coach Roper gets down with.
They got too much. So. they got too much to lose. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Talk to Zadok if you can.
Bill
Yeah.
or Mike?
Bill. Both, but Bill.
All right.
Maybe Mike now would be better because he doesn't have anything to lose. Oh, he's just doing tour guide, not Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah, crushing it, dude. Crushing it.
Good
Makes your beard look small. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, dude. For real, dude. It's like
I trim mine. I can't. It gets to a certain length, and I feel that there's a fine line between handsome and homeless. You know what I'm saying? And like I try to keep myself dapper.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not trying to go for that Ted Kaczynski look just yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Keep on reading on these documentaries.
Right.
Thank you
Like
so
good,
much,
man.
Broski. Love
Good seeing you, dog.
Keep up the great work. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate y'all.
Have a
Later.
great night.
Later.